A very good morning, students. Welcome back to online session on programming for problem solving course. We started the third unit, and in our last session we discussed about the basic function design. We said every function it is going to have input as well as output. Input in terms of parameters we are passing to a function, and output in terms of return value we are receiving from a function. Parameters we said we can have many in number, but whereas return value we can have only one value from a function. So based on these two, there is no compulsion that always a function should have parameters as well as return values. And if you don't want to pass any input, we said we are going to close the input door by simply keeping a void over there. And same thing, if you don't want to receive a value from a function, or if a function don't want to return any value, then simply we make the return type of that function as void. So if a function's return value is void, if the function is not returning anything from it, we call such a function as a void function. And if a function is returning some value, we call that function as non-void function. Okay. And if a function is having parameters, we say it as a function with parameter. And if a function is not having any parameters, we say function without parameters. So based on these four things, uh, I mean return value parameter combinations, we said basic function design we classified into four. That is void function with parameters, void function without parameters, non-void function with parameters, non-void function without parameters. All these things in detail we discussed in our previous session. So in this session we mainly focus on parameter passing techniques. So over here, uh, about it, the functions concept we have started, and the terminology related to these functions we have completed, and we need to discuss this built-in libraries. Very soon we'll discuss that one. And this parameter passing in functions, call by value, these things we focus, I mean in upcoming two sessions. Basically, I have divided this concept into two sessions, and in today's session, we'll complete the basics related to this parameter passing. So, what are parameters? What are actual formal parameters? What are variables? Local variables, global variables, scope of a variable, all these things we discuss in today's session. So quickly, without much wait, we'll start today's concept, and we start with the scope of a variable. In your first unit we discussed about the concept of variables. A variable, we said, it is a named memory location, a storage area where you can put some values for manipulation inside your program. And a variable content, it is temporary. As long as your program is under execution, till that time only the variable content will exist. Once the program stops its execution, the content of variable will be lost. So here we need to discuss the scope. Scope means the accessing ability, we can say, or we can also consider the scope as the lifetime of a variable. Okay, the scope of a variable is nothing but it is simply the lifetime of a variable. So how long a variable will exist, when it will die, when it will get created, all these things comes under the scope of a variable. Okay, so it is a block of code under which a variable is applicable or alive. A scope is nothing but it is a block, it is a portion of code where the variable will be alive, where the variable will exist, okay, for accessing, for application, okay, all these things. So there are three places where variables can be declared in any programming language. So basically, where we can declare a variable, in the sense we have three different locations where we can declare a variable, and based on their declaration, the variable will exist, the variable will become alive, we can say. So the first place where we can declare a variable means inside a function. You can declare a variable inside a function, and we call such variables, the variables which are declared inside the function body, we call them as local variables. Okay, we call them as local variables. And the second type of variables are a variable scope is outside of all the variables, outside of all the functions, sorry, outside of all functions including main. Even we declare these variables outside the main function also, we call such variables as global variables. Local variables, global variables. Local variables within the block of a function, global variables outside of all the functions. And there is another third type of function, third type of variable scope, that is in the definition of function parameters. So in association with function parameters also we declare these variables, and we call them as formal parameters. There is another type like actual parameters also. We need to discuss these two: actual, formal and actual parameters. Okay, formal and actual parameters, these things also we need to discuss. So in today's session we mainly focus on local variables, global variables and parameters. Parameters, they can be of two: formal parameters as well as actual parameters. Hopefully you understood. Okay, scope is nothing but, remember it as a lifetime of a variable. When the variable is created and when the variable will become when the variable will die, or when the variable will not become available, all those things comes under lifetime. It is an important term you need to understand: lifetime of a variable. Lifetime of a variable. Scope is nothing but lifetime of a variable. Okay, so quickly, as we categorized over here based on the declaration, okay, based on the scope of variables, we said local variables, global variables and formal and actual parameters. So these things we need to discuss. So first we start with local variables. So these local variables are defined inside a function body. So when you are creating a function, you may take a few variables within the body of that function. So such variables we call them as local variables. Okay, and they they are used without having any role in the communication between the functions. So this communication in between the functions we discussed when we discuss interfunction communication concept. So till that point, you just read it like a statement: communication between functions. So the role of local variables is nothing in communication between the variables. They are not going to play any role in communication between the functions. So local variables are defined within the body of the function. Okay, and it can only be used inside the subroutine. Subroutine is nothing but it is a synonym for function. Remember this one. Subroutine means subprogram. Subroutine means subprogram. That is nothing but a function. So the local variables which you are declaring inside a subroutine or inside a function, their scope is limited to that function block only, that function body only. Okay, it can only be used inside the function or code block in which it is declared. Where you are declaring local variables, the scope of those variables will be confined, okay, to that body only, to that block of subroutine only, block of function only. Okay, the local variables exists until the block of the function is under execution. As long as that function is under execution, the variables which are defined, the local variables which are defined or declared inside that function will exist. Once the code, the function code exits from execution, once the function code comes out of execution, what will happen after that? All those local variables will be destroyed automatically, will die, we can say will die. Their lifetime will become over. They will simply die. Remember this one. So Just to understand this one, I have taken an example over here, an example function add, which is not taking any parameters, which is there is no input, because here it is void means there is no input to this function, and return type is integer. So the function must return an integer type of value. And the function name is add, simple add function, and it is a user defined function. It is a user defined function. It is not a predefined function. It is a user defined function. Remember this thing. It is a user defined function. And inside this block, where the block is starting, this is the starting point for the block, and this is the end point for the block. This is the starting point and this is the end point for the block. So now, so inside this user defined function, we are declaring two variables, variable a and variable b. These two variables, as they are defined within the block, as they are defined within the function block, we call them as local variables. What do we call them? Local variables. We call them as local variables, local to this block. And the lifetime, or the existence of these two variables, is limited to this block only. Outside of this block, suppose if you want to access this a and b outside of this block, somewhere over here, or before this block, somewhere over here, what will happen? You cannot access them. Simply their existence is limited to this block only, where you are starting this curly bracket and where you are ending this curly bracket. Their existence is limited to this block of code only, this block only. Outside of this block, they are not available. See here, read this statement. Here, variable a comma b are declared inside a function. The function name is add, inside a function. The scope of these variables remain inside that function and can't be used outside of that function. So this exactly what I mean by local variables. The last statement when you are reading, this exactly what I mean by the concept of local variables. Okay, so quickly I think we need to demonstrate this concept. So I will go to the in order to demonstrate, I will go to the IDE. I'm opening the IDE. I have opened. Now I'm taking one simple source file. So here what I will do, I will write my program, a simple program. See, many times I'm practicing these programs over here. I don't think that you should feel any kind of hesitation in writing the programs from now on, because everything I'm demonstrating in terms of C program, in terms of coding. Okay, so now we are discussing about the concept of local variables. So I said I'm going to use one function with name add, the same function what we discussed over here, the same function what we discussed over here. I will demonstrate with this one. So the function return type, it is int, and function parameter, it is void. So same thing I am taking over here. So just go here, declaration we have to do in the global area. So function return type is int, function name is add, and parameters, we don't have any parameters, so void. Output is int, input is closed, void. So now define that function, definition int add of void. Okay, so write the definition like we said, int a equals to some 4 comma int b equals to some 5. We said like two variables we are taking. Then I'm returning, so using return statement, what I am doing, I am returning the value of a plus b. So what it will do, it will first calculate the a plus b value and it will return the same, because the return type should be integer. It will return the same from this function. It will calculate a plus b and it will return the same from this function. So now come over here and call this function. Function declaration over here, it is over. This is declaration, and function definition here it is over. So this is definition, and now what we have to do, we have to call this function. So that I am doing over here, as it is returning an integer value. So integer result, we can't use that add as a statement. Now we have to use that add as an expression. So result equals to add of, that's it, add of. And finally the result we will receive, so we have to print that result, printf result equals to percentile d comma, the result is inside res variable, so we have to print that res variable, result variable over here. So like this, a simple program. So we said this a and b are local variables. What are these? These a and b are local variables. The scope of these variables is local to this block. As they are local variables, their scope is limited to this block, from this opening bracket to closing bracket. In this blue area only you can access these a and b. Outside of this blue area you cannot access these a and b. Okay, so I will show you what error you will get if you try to access everything we will discuss. Okay, variable. So these two a and b are local variables, and within the block only we are accessing a and b, and trying to access these a and b out of the block is an error. I will show you that one. So now save the program. Today it is 14th of February. So 14 uh, uh, 2.cpp. Okay, hit enter. Program got saved. Now compile. Compilation, it is successful. And what output we should get? Output we should get the addition of 5 plus 4. 4 plus 5, that is 9. We should get 9. So compilation successful, then run. As you can see, result equals to 9 we are getting. The result equals to 9 we are getting on the output screen. Okay, now close this one. Yeah, just save this. Now what I will do is, because we said they a and b scope is limited to this block, I will try to access this a and b outside of the block. Here also what I am doing, I am taking another result, that is result 2, and I want to calculate yeah, here result okay, after printing this, what I am doing, I am doing result 2 is equals to a plus b. I am trying to access this a and b, which I have declared inside this function. Okay, inside this function I have declared a and b, and I am trying to access this a and b over here, and I will try to print the result also. Control C, and that result 2. Okay, first we are printing result 1, and now we are trying to print result 2. Just save it and go compile. See what error I am getting. A was not declared in this scope. A was not declared in this scope, and the same thing we are getting for B also. B was not declared. I know the font, it is very small over here, but you need to understand this one. I'm reading this statement as well for your understanding. A was not declared in this scope. Here I am getting that error, and over here B was not declared in this scope. That error I am getting over here. So simply what it is saying, this A and B are unaccessible. I mean, we cannot access this A and B over here. Okay, they are not existing. Simply over here A and B, they are not existing. Okay, so that's the difference we see when it comes to local variables. As they are defined within this block, they are accessible only in this block, and outside the block when you try to access them, you will get error. You will get error. And what sort of error you are getting, that also I have shown by executing, by doing that malpractice. Okay, hopefully you understood. So quickly I will go, and yeah, I have demonstrated this also. So now we have to discuss the second type of variable scopes, that is global variables. A global variable in the program is a variable defined outside of all the functions, including the main function. So what we do, we define such variables outside of all the functions. We don't make such type of variables local to any block, local to any function, local to any block of function. Simply we declare them outside of all the functions, including the main function. Okay, it has a global scope. Global scope means it holds its value throughout the lifetime of the program, unlike the local variables. Local variables, what we said, confined, I mean limited to a particular block. But over here global variable, they are not limited to a particular block, rather they are accessible throughout your program. Inside your program, wherever you want to access these global variables, you can simply access them. Their scope, their lifetime is throughout the program. As long as your program, complete program, is under execution, your global variables will exist. They will not die. Once the program stops its execution, the global variables will die. Hopefully you understood. Simple thing, local variables limited to a block, global variables no limitation throughout the program. Okay, so hence it can be accessed throughout the program by any function defined within the program unless it is shadowed. Unless it is shadowed, and we need to discuss what does it mean shadowed, and how the global variables are accessed throughout the program. How the global variables are accessed throughout the program, that thing we need to discuss, and how their lifetime is throughout the program, that also we need to discuss, and how we can shadow a global variable, that also we need to discuss. So over here, to demonstrate this, the same what we call function, I mean the same program I will take into my consideration, this program. Okay, so over here what we are saying, we need to declare the global variables outside of all the um, functions, so including the main function. So this is my add function from here to here, and this is my main function from here to here. And where exactly the global variables will be declared, in the sense outside of all the functions, that means inside the global area. This is my global area. I need to declare the functions, sorry, I need to declare my global variables outside of all the functions. That means in this particular area I need to declare them. Int a comma b, let us assume, or else we can take g1 and g2. g1 global variable 1 comma g2 global variable 2, just for our understanding. Okay, so now what I will do, I have taken one function already, add function. I am taking another function, int some sample function also I am taking, and this function will also not take any values but return what should we say, it will also not return anything. So input output both the doors are closed for my sample function. Add function, it will not take anything, input is closed but output is open, it will return one integer type of values. And these two are g1 g2 are my global variables. As we said, the lifetime, the scope of these two variable is not confined, not limited to any particular block. That means we can access this g1 g2 inside add function, inside sample function, and inside main function also. That's the reason why we are declaring these variables outside of all the functions, including the main. You can easily see that one. I've declared this g1 g2, declared and defined, even outside of the main function, even outside of the main function. So inside the main function, what I will do over here is, so let us take g1 with some value equals to some 2, and g2 with some value equals to some 3. Okay, g1 value I have initialized to 2, and g2 value I have initialized to 3. So now what I will do, inside my main function, okay, inside of my main function I will do some manipulation. So rather you make this also as void. Okay, this also add void as void. Add will also not return anything, and better you take this as sample 1, and this is as sample 2. Okay, I'm doing some changes in my program. So these two are the declarations, function declarations. First one is the function declaration for sample 1, second one is the function declaration for sample 2. And what they will do means, just they will, this sample 1 will add 1 to this g1 g2, and sample 2 will add 2 to this g1 and g2. Okay, inside the main, what I am doing, I am simply uh, uh, calling the first function sample 1, and after calling, yeah, this is calling, we have to use this sample 1 like a statement only, because it is not having any input, not having any output. So after this I will try to print g1 equals to g1 value percentile d, comma g2 equals to g2 value percentile d. I'm printing g1 value comma g2 value. So g1 comma g2. Then at the end put the semicolon. After this again you call sample 2. Okay, sample 2. So after this printf, okay, G1 value after sample 2, how the values will be. Basically, I'm going to modify G1 and G2 values inside sample 1 and sample 2. So that was that is what I'm thinking. Okay, again print G1, G2. So now what is missing in this program? Yeah, in this program we need to write the code. We need to write the code for sample 1 and sample 2. Okay, their definitions are missing. So first I will write sample 1 definition. Sample 1. This is sample 1. Okay, definition I'm writing. Sample 1 definition I'm writing. So what is the return type of sample 1? Void only. Then function name sample 1 and parameters, no parameters, void. So inside sample 1 what I am doing, I am simply taking G1 value. G1 equals to I'm adding G1 plus 1. Okay, for G2 also I am adding the same. G2 equals to G2 plus 1. I'm adding 1 1. So this is we are doing. So inside printf, here you put inside sample 1 function. Okay, inside sample 1 function, these things we are doing. Here you take backslash n just to have a line separation. Here also you take a backslash n. At the end put semicolon. Again take another function because sample 2 definition is also missing. Sample 2 or definition. So now we have to write the sample 2 definition. Sample 2 of void. Okay. Now inside sample 2 what we were doing. Okay. Backslash n inside sample 2 function. Inside sample 2 function put one more backslash n. Here I will add 2 plus 2 plus 2. G1 equals to G1 same value I am taking, whatever G1 value we are having, G1 plus 2, and take G2 also. G2 equals to G2 plus 2. We are adding 2 2. Okay, this is my sample 2 definition. Very simple. Practice it. Okay. Then yeah, over here also you put backslash n just for a separation. Here also you put backslash n just for a separation. Okay, now save this program. See over here what I am doing inside main function. Okay, inside main function what I am doing, printf. Okay, before calling sample 1 comma sample 2 functions. Before calling sample 1 sample 2 functions, I am printing my G1 G2 value. Printf, okay, backslash n, G1 equals to percentile d comma G2 equals to percentile d. Okay, so now you print G1 comma G2. At the end you put semicolon, control S. Okay, saved. Program got saved. So over here I'm simply trying to access my global variables G1 G2 before calling sample 1 and sample 2. So then after printing G1 G2 value, what I'm doing, I'm calling sample 1. So immediately the control will jump from here to sample 1, and this statement you can see on the output screen. It will print on the output screen. Inside sample 1 function, what we are doing, we have modified the value of G1 G2. Okay, this modification indirectly modify the values of G1 G2. Here G1 G2 value we are having 2 3. So after this what will happen, G1 will become 3, G2 will become 4. Okay, so here you will get 3 4. Sorry, here you will get 3 4. Here you will get 2 3 only. Here you will get 2 3. Okay, as you can see here at this point G1 value is G1 equals to, G1 value is what? G1 value is 2, and G2 value is G2 equals to 3. Okay, at this point what will happen, you modified G1 value G2 value by adding 1 1 to it. So G1 value will become, yeah, here when you are printing what you can get, G1 value you should get like 3, and here G1 value you should get G2 value you should get like 4. After this, you are calling sample2. So the control will go to sample2 function. Inside sample2, again, what you are doing, you are modifying G1 and G2 values by simply adding +2 +2. So after this, what will happen? After calling sample2 function, what will happen? G1 value will become 5. Okay, plus 2, 3 plus 2, isn't it? These modifications, whatever you are doing in sequence, all those will get reflected on this G1, G2 because they are global variables now. They are not local. So 3 plus 2. Because over here, whatever G1 value you receive, that last modified value you will receive. That last modified value you will receive. And that last modified value for G1 is 3. You are adding 2. 3 plus 2, 5 you will get. Same thing for G2. G2 last modified value was 4. So you will receive 4 over here. So 4 plus 2, you will get G2 value as 6. As simple as it is. So just save this program, and according to this comment, are we going to get the output? That we have to see. See, program execute compilation, it is successful. Now I'm executing. Run. See that one. As I said, we are getting the same values. Before calling sample1, sample2 functions, this statement, before calling sample1, sample2 functions, G1 value was 2 as I said over here. G2 value was 3 as I said over here. Then we are calling sample1 function. This function we are calling. So immediately you are getting this message. Inside sample1 function, G1 value is 3 as I said, G2 value is 4 as I said. Again, after this, we are calling sample2 function. So inside sample2 function, the control jumped to sample2 function. And then we got G1 value as 5 and G2 value as 6. So in this way, global variables are accessible. As you can see, we are accessing this G1, G2 inside main function, inside sample1 function, and inside sample2 functions also. So that means as they are global, these are my global variables. As these are my global variables, you can access these global variables at any point of your program. After the declaration, at any point of your program, you can access these global variables as their scope is not confined, not limited to any particular block. Simply it is global, open to the world, we can say. Wherever inside your program you want to access this G1, G2, you can simply access them. Hopefully you understood. This is something global variables. As you can see over here, we have declared a value as 4, b value as 5, and this ab value over here also you can use, over here also you can use, because as you can clearly see that a and b values we have defined, declared outside of both the functions, main function as well as the user defined function. Outside of both the functions we have defined, so you can use these global variables inside main as well as inside this user defined function. Okay, that we have done, and we have seen how whatever changes you are doing inside the main, it is affecting whatever changes inside this add, it is affecting. Here we have clearly seen that one. Whatever changes I am doing inside main, inside sample1, inside sample2, ultimately these changes you are you are seeing on these variables G1 and G2. Hopefully you understood this global variables concept. So demonstration is also over. So the difference we need to discuss between global variables and local variables. The first parameter, we have defined some parameters, and based on these parameters we are seeing the differences of global and local variables. In that, the first parameter is the scope. So scope wise, local variables are confined to a function, limited to a function, inside a function. Where we are declaring local variables, inside a function we are declaring local variables. But whereas global variables we are declaring outside of all the functions, including the main. Outside of all the functions including the main. And the value, see, this value parameter, it depends on the type of compiler what you are using. So we know two different types of compilers that we are using in our lab. The first type of compiler is Turbo C++ compiler, and the second type of compiler, it is Dave C++ compiler. So this value parameter depends on what type of compiler you are using. So in Turbo C compiler, generally whatever difference we are seeing over here, it is based on Turbo C compiler. Remember this one. We are seeing this difference based on Turbo C compiler, but not based on Dev C++ compiler. Dev C++ compiler, both you will expect zeros over here. So what default value when you are not doing any initialization for global variables or local variables, what default value, what I mean initial value they are taking, in the sense for local variables they will take garbage value. This garbage value point we discussed many times before this video as well. So if the local variables are uninitialized, we are saying that they will take garbage values. Okay, and if global variables are uninitialized, they will take zeros. By default, they will take zeros. And this consideration or this difference we said based on Turbo C compiler, but not on Dev C++ compiler. So values, if they are uninitialized, okay, if you are not doing any initialization, by default they will take garbage values in case of local variables, and by default they will take value as 0 if they are global variables. Then we have the lifetime. Okay, lifetime of local and global variables. It is created when the function starts execution. So if as local variables are declared within the function, when the function starts its execution, they will be created. Local variables will be created and lost when the function terminates. Okay, and lost means they will die simply. They will become unavailable. Okay, when the function terminates, they will become unavailable. So it is created, I mean local variable, it is created when the function starts execution and lost when the function terminates. Simple meaning. Over here global variables, it is created before the program's global execution starts, even before the execution of your program. I mean, as we said, execution of the program will start from the main function, but global variables we are declaring outside of the main function as well. So we can say that global variables will be created even before the execution of your program starts. Okay, and terminates and lost when the program execution stops, when the program terminates. So that means, in short, global variables lifetime, global variables scope is not limited, it is throughout the program. They will be available, they became available as long as your program is under execution. Okay, data sharing. The fourth parameter is data sharing. Data sharing is not possible with the help of local variables, because we said whatever variables we are declaring inside the body of a function, okay, whatever variables we are declaring them as local variables, their scope is limited to the function only, so we cannot use them for data sharing. But whereas your global variables, they are possible. They're possibly one of the best option to do data sharing between the functions. Okay, between the functions, if you want to do the data sharing, the global variables are one of the best option. Okay, then parameter passing. Yeah, in order to have the communication established between the functions, with the help of local variables, you have to go for parameter passing. So what is this parameter passing? Our next concept is parameter passing only. Okay, parameter passing is required for local variables to access the value in other functions. So if you want to use one local variable into some other function, through parameter passing techniques you can pass the values. You cannot pass the variables, but you can pass the contents of those variables, that is nothing but values of those variables. Then the next thing, parameter passing is not necessary or not possibly an option in case of global variables, because by default whatever values global variables are holding, you can easily access in all the functions. There are few other parameters like modification of variable value. Yeah, this parameter, if you see, when the value of the local variable is modified in one function, the changes are not visible in other function. Okay, if you are modifying the contents of a local variable, even when the local variables are unaccessible outside of that function, how can you expect the value to be accessed? So if the variables are unaccessible, simply the value will also become unaccessible. That means whatever changes you are doing to the local variables, you cannot see in other variables, you cannot see in other functions, we can say, in another function. So in case of global variables, whatever modifications you are doing in one function, those modifications you can easily see inside other functions as well. Okay, the modification And the global variable scope, as it is not limited to any function, whatever changes, whatever modifications you are doing inside one function, those changes you can easily see inside other functions also. In case of local variables, the modification you cannot see in other functions, but in case of global variables, the modifications you can see inside other functions as well. Accessed by other parameter is where exactly we can access, in the sense look, local variables can be accessed in all the statements present inside the function where they are declared. So if you are declaring local variables in one particular function, whatever statements you have inside that function, all those statements can access your local variables within that block limitation. Within that block lifetime, block limitation, all the statements can access. Global variables throughout the program, any statement inside your program can access the global variables. There is no limitation, there is no confinement, there is no restriction, we can say. Then the final one, memory storage. It is stored on the stack unless specified. So very soon we'll discuss what is stack memory, what is heap memory. So your local variables, they will be stored on stack memory, and global variables, yeah, here you can see on stack memory, and global variables here, yeah, we are going to have some fixed memory locations in order to store these global variables by the compiler. Just remember all these. Here we have like 5 plus here we have 3 parameters. So in terms of 8 parameters, you need to understand the differences between local and global variables. It is an important SAQ, short answer question. Sometimes they are asking under LAQ also, but not for complete 10 marks or 15 marks. They are asking for like 4 to 5 marks also. Difference between local variables and global variables. Okay, there is another important concept like actual parameters, former parameters, that also we will discuss in today's session. So quickly go to the parameters of function. Okay, parameters in functions. So these are the means, or we can say these are the uh, ways to shade the values between the functions, or to have a communication between the functions. So C functions exchange information. Information is nothing but your data only. Information is nothing but the data part, or the data content, or the values, whatever we are storing inside our programs, all those we can call them as information. Okay, information is something which is very much specific, So C functions exchange information by means of parameters or arguments. The arguments is just another synonym for parameters. If you go to other programming languages, you can see a big difference between parameters and arguments. But as far as this C language is concerned, both are same. Parameters, arguments, they are just the synonyms in C language. I'm not talking about other programming languages or other um, data manipulation languages. I'm talking about C language, and in terms of C language, when we see parameters, arguments, both are same. Just parameters means constants or variables, but whereas arguments means expressions. Both the things will pass to the function as an input. Parameter, argument, both the things we pass input as input to the function. Okay, the term parameter refers to any declaration within the parenthesis following the function name. So generally what we are doing when we are writing the function name, so where is my cursor? Yeah, here, function name. So we are writing function of function name, and then we are writing like this parenthesis. So over here, whatever list we put, we call it as parameter list. Parameter list. So parameters, the term parameter refers to any declaration. So here basically we do the declaration. Declaration in the sense we specify the parameter name followed by its type, like int a, then int b. Like this we put all our parameters. The term parameter refers to any declaration within the parenthesis following the function name in the function declaration or definition. In both the cases we do like this. In case of function declaration, in case of function definition, and in case of function calling also we pass the parameters. Okay, the number of parameters in a function call must be same as the number of parameters in the function definition. So the parameter count, when we say parameter number of parameters, the parameter count, it should match in all the cases. The parameter count, it should match in all the cases. Like when we talk about functions, we are going to have three things. The first one is function declaration, function declaration. Then we have function definition, declaration. Then we have function definition. All these things in our previous videos we discussed. Function definition, and finally we also have function call. Function call. So in all these cases, function definition, declaration and call, your parameter count must be same. Your parameter, number of parameters must be same. Number of parameters must be same. Must be same. But the order also it must be same. Number of parameters as well as the order must be same. Order and number of parameters must be same, both in function declaration, function definition, function call. What does it mean? What does exactly this means? See, if I'm doing the function declaration, where I do outside of the main function, before the main function we do the function declaration. Let us say if I'm saying int add of int comma int. What does it mean? Int comma int. Already we discussed. What does it mean? My function is having an output of integer type, and my function will have input two integer values. Okay, let us say, okay, just to have more confusion, remove this one. Instead of making int and int, I will make int comma character. So my function add, it is taking two type of parameters, int parameter, character parameter, two types of parameters, and it is returning integer as output. This is input and this is output. Okay, so now as you can see, when I said my function add, this is the declaration, this is declaration. So when I said my function add will take two parameters, int and character, the number, when you do the definition and when you do the calling, the numbers should match, the number of parameters should match, and the order also should match. First integer you need to pass and then character you need to pass. So how we do the call inside main? Inside main, what we do, we call this add function. So when you call, it is returning an integer value, so you need to put result equals to, because, and this result it must be of type integer because it is returning an integer value. So result equals to add of, yes, you need to pass integer value, that is 24, it is an integer value, then character value. Okay, within single quotations put the character value, like C is the character that I am passing. So like this, first you need to pass the integer, then you need to pass the character. Doing like this is an error. Add of, if you say result equals to add of, like character C first you are passing, then 24 you are passing, doing like this is an error. It is an error. Your compiler will not accept such type of thing. You need to, must, the type, order and type must match, order and number and type must match in case of parameters. When you do the definition, there also same thing, int add of, receive first parameter into int some x, comma, receive second parameter into some character, it is a character, right, character ch. Likewise, then do the definition of this function, then do the definition within the curly brackets of this function. So like this, this is my declaration, this is my calling, and this is my definition, and everywhere as you can see the function, inside the function declaration, int char I have taken two parameters, first integer should come and then character should come. Inside function call also we have to pass in that same way, first we have to pass the integer, then we have to pass the character. And when you are receiving the parameters in your function definition, you have to receive in that order only. First you need to receive the integer value, then you need to receive the character value. No more parameters are allowed. In the declaration 2 we have specified, so in the definition 2 has to come, and in the calling also 2 has to come. Count and number of parameters must match. And if you don't want to put any parameters, if you want to make parameter count as 0, that means if you don't want to pass any input, simply make it as void. What we have to do, we already discussed, just in order to close the input door, put void over there. So this is about parameters. So parameters are separated by commas. If you have more number of parameters, just separate them with commas. Already we discussed this one. Okay, already we have discussed, we have seen also, if you have more number of parameters to be passed inside the function, what we do, we just separate them by using a comma. Okay, and the scope of those parameters, whatever formal parameters you are receiving inside a function body, the scope of those parameters is limited to that body only. So they will act like local to that block. So yeah, we will discuss in detail that one. Then parameters can be referred to as formal parameters as well as actual parameters based on their style of usage, where exactly you are using, whether you are using inside function declaration, whether you are using inside function definition, whether you are using inside a function call. Based on their style of usage, they have been categorized into two, that is formal parameters and actual parameters. Formal parameters and actual parameters. So what are actual parameters? So inside the function call, when you're calling a function, inside a function call, in the calling environment, whatever variables or whatever constants, whatever expressions you're passing inside a function as parameters, we call them as actual parameters. So this will come inside calling function. Where exactly the actual parameters will exist in the sense, in calling function, where exist inside calling function. You can expect these actual parameters inside calling function. So inside calling function, whenever you are calling the function, like I said, add of, here you can see, here I am calling add of 24c, I said. So these are my actual parameters. These are my actual parameters. And a copy of these actual parameters I received inside x and inside ch. So I call these two, ch and x, as formal parameters. Formal parameters. So where exactly my actual parameters are existing, in the sense inside the calling function. So this is my calling function, main is my calling function. So inside calling function, my actual parameters are existing. And where exactly my formal parameters are existing, inside the called function. Inside called function, my formal parameters are existing. So this is my called function. I need to write this with more clarity generally. So first we are doing the function declaration, and we said it is returning an integer value. So int add of, I said it is going to receive one integer type of value, one character type of value. So this is my parameter count and this is my parameter order. What is my parameter count? I need to have only two parameters. What is my parameter order? First integer should come and then character should come. This is the number and order of my parameters. So inside main, what we are doing, int main of void, we are writing int main of void. So inside main I am calling this function, so it is going to return an integer value. So int result I am taking, then result equals to add of, like actual parameters we are passing, like 24 comma, we set c character I am passing. So this is the calling. Then inside function definition, int add of, I am receiving these 24 into formal parameter x. It is a copy generally. Then formal parameter y, that is sorry, this is character, right? Second formal parameter, which is character, we need to receive in character ch. So like this. So now this terminology very important. This is function declaration. Function declaration, which will tell the number and the order of parameters. What the declaration will do, it will only tell the number of parameters, number of parameters, type of the parameters, type of parameters, sorry, type of parameters, and also the order of parameters, order of parameters. These three things will be given by the what? These three things will be given by the function declaration. So this is function declaration. So this is my function call. So what exactly the function calling function will give? This entire area is my calling function. So what exactly the calling function will give? Calling function is the actual parameters. Calling function will give actual parameters. Whatever parameters we are passing over here, like 24c, these are my actual parameters. And what my called function will have, this is my called function. So what my called function will have in the sense, called function will have in the sense formal parameters. It will have formal parameters. Just take down this. If you are noting down, just take down these things, and it is very important. This terminology, it is very important. Function declaration, it will have number of parameters, type of parameters, order of parameters. Function calling function will have actual parameters. Function call, this is function call. This is my calling function, and this is my function call. Add of 24c, this is my function call. Function call will have actual parameters. Function call will have actual parameters. Function call will have what? Actual parameters. Actual parameters. And lastly, this is my function definition. Function definition will have, I should write, because here my video maybe it is coming, so that's the reason I'm not writing over there. So just let me rub this one. So lastly, what we said, the function definition. Function call will have actual parameters, and finally the function definition will have the formal parameters. Function definition will have formal parameters. So where exactly the actual parameters will come, where exactly the formal parameters will come, and what is the purpose, what is the role of function declaration, all these things you need to understand. Okay, so quickly, yeah, actual parameters, as we said, the variables are expressions corresponding to a formal parameter that appears in the function or method call in calling environment. So corresponding in the sense, whatever function declaration is saying, according to that we are passing the values. Whatever function declaration is saying, according to that we are passing the values. So that's the reason we are saying corresponding to the function declaration, and we are calling them as actual parameters. Corresponding to the function declaration only we are passing these values. So that's the reason why, and they are coming inside the calling portion of the function. So we are calling them as actual parameters. The parameters that are passed in a function call are called as actual arguments or actual parameters. The parameters are defined in the calling function. These parameters are defined in the calling function. These are the variables or expressions referred in parameter list of a subprogram call. Basically, program call, subprogram call, function call will have actual parameters. There is no need to specify the data type of actual parameters. As you can see over here, I am simply passing 24 and C. I am not specifying any data type. As you can see, I'm not specifying any data type. No need to specify the data type of actual parameters. So second one is the formal parameters, and they will come inside the function prototype and function definition, we can say. Function definition. Where exactly these formal parameters will come? Inside the function definition. The formal parameters will come, and when you are receiving the actual parameters inside formal parameters, the data type of receiving parameter must be defined. As you can see over here, this is my formal parameters we said, and over here we specified the data type. In function declaration, we are specifying only the type. In function definition, we are specifying only the values. only the type and only the variables are only the values. But in case of function definition, we have to put both values. I mean, that is nothing but type as well as variables. Type as well as variables. The scope of formal parameters is confined, is limited to the definition of the function which they are using, okay, which they are used. So here this x and ch are my formal parameters, and their scope is limited to this block, okay, limited to this block. These formal parameters, they are limited to this block, okay, remember this one. Yeah, quickly we need to see the differences between formal and actual parameters. So an order list, as we said, the number and order and type must match everywhere. Whatever you are doing in the declaration, it must match in the definition as well as it must match in the calling. Okay, so here actual parameter, it is also same. The number, the type, the everything should match. An ordered list of parameters which are included at the time of definition of the function. Formal parameter where we are specifying at the time of definition of the function. Actual parameter where we are specifying at the time of function call, as you can see over here. We are specifying actual parameters at the time of function call. Formal parameters at the time of definition of a function. This difference, it is very, very important. Formal parameters in the definition, actual parameters in the function call. Data type needs to be mentioned. For formal parameters, we need to mention the data type. But for actual parameter, it must not be mentioned. It is not required. Data type is not required. These are variables with their data types, and these are variables without their data types. Okay. There are only definitions of input data types. Okay. We are only specifying the definitions. We are not specifying what we call which shows the type, I mean, which shows the type data should be given at the time of input while calling the function. And when you are calling the function, there only you are specifying the type, I mean, at the time of declaration, basically, there only you are specifying the type. And when you are doing the definition, at that time also you are specifying the type for the formal parameters. In case of actual parameters, no need to specify the type. Okay, then here you can see inside the function definition, here a and b I am using, and these a and b are nothing but your formal parameters. Inside the function call, as you can see over here, we are calling the function. This is my function call, and you can clearly see that I have specified the expressions. This is one, this is another one. Okay, the resultant of this will be saved inside a, and the resultant of this will be saved inside b. And as you can see over here, I have not specified the function, I have not specified the types. So quickly we need to demonstrate these formal parameters and actual parameters so that we can get into the interfunction communication concept that we will see in our next session. So I will demonstrate the formal and actual parameters, and I will conclude this session. Okay, so quickly go over here. Yeah, I think it is yeah, will not go into this much deep. Rather, will simplify the stuff like how we discussed in this slide. Okay, over here how I discussed, I will take only add function, and I will take only yes, like the parameters over there how I have given. Instead of add, because we are not performing any addition, as you can see over here, take the function name as sample only. Take the function name sample. So here sample, and at the time of calling also sample. Okay, and at the time of defining also sample. See, I'm telling you, as long as we are discussing about these functions, it is a very important concept. Function declaration, function definition, function calling, the complete terminology, whatever we discussed with respect to these functions, you need to understand. There is no escaping from it. Being a CSE and IT student, you need to understand all these things. Okay, so I'm writing my program just to demonstrate that formal and actual parameters. stdio.h, and then go to the next line, int main of void. Yeah, here I'm writing my code. So just do the declaration of that sample. We said it will return integer type of value. Then the function name is sample. It will take one integer value and another character value, two values. the type and order must match. We said the number, type and order must match. Three things must match. So here what I will do, as my function is going to return an integer value, I'm storing the function call with sample of what we have to pass 24, then pass one character C, like how we have done over there. Same thing I'm doing. So next, after calling this function, it will return the result. So that result basically it is 24 only. So or else we just modify the 24 and we will result. We'll see how. Okay, result value, percentile d, what value, inside result only we will receive. So yeah, calling of function is over. This is function declaration. This is my calling function, and this is my function call. And what is missing? Function declaration is over. This is my function declaration, function call, and function definition is missing. So this is my function definition I'm about to write. So that is int sample of receive the 24. Here it is passing 24, so we have to receive the 24 into a variable like x, and then receive the C also. We need a character variable to receive, character ch. C I am receiving into a variable. It is a constant character and it is a variable character. Constant, it will get initialized to this C. Okay, so like this. So this is your function called function. This is my called function. This is calling function, this is called function, and three things with respect to your functions: function declaration, function call, function definition. So here what I will do, whatever x value I am receiving, first you print that C value, printf, okay, character received, character received, character received, percentile C. To print, we use percentile C to print the character. So we have that character inside ch variable. So ch I'm using, and I'm returning same thing x by adding some 4. So 24 will be copied into x. This 24 I'm passing here will get copied into this x, and to that x I'm adding 4. So 24 plus 4, 28 it will return. The sample function will return 28 as integer value, and that same value you will receive over here and will be stored inside result, and that we are printing over here. So what we expect, first it will print this one and then it will print this one. First here, as you can see, the control will enter into main function and it will come over here. It will call the sample function. Sample function it is calling. So 24 it is passing and C it is passing. So 24 it will copied into, yeah, the control will come from here to here. So 24 will be copied into X, and C will be copied into CH. So that CH I am printing over here. So C you will get character received, percentile C. Instead of C you take A, because so many C's, so you may get confused. So that's the reason I have taken A now. So the same character A will be copied into CH, and that same character will be printed over here, A. Received character A you will see. Then after that what it will do, it is x value, it is 24, so it is adding 4 to it. So 24 plus 4 it will become 28, and it is returning 28 as integer value. You can see over here the return type is integer, so it is returning 28, and whatever value this sample is returning you will receive over here, because this is the function call. So as an output over here you will receive, and that same thing we are storing into this res. Same thing we are storing into this res, and that res I am printing over here. So result value 28 you will print, it will print. So first character received A it will print, then result value 28 it will print. Save it, compile, compilation successful, then run. As you can see, what it is printing, what I said, it should print character received A, it is printing, and then result value 28 it is printing. So in this way we passed, yeah, this is defining the number of parameters, type of parameters, and order of parameters. First integer has to come, and then second character has to come. Integer and parameter, type is defined, order is defined, and number 2 is defined. Okay, two parameters we need to pass, that also it is defined. So this is function declaration. Then this is calling function. Inside calling function we are calling the function, that is function call, and at the time of function call whatever values you are passing or whatever arguments you are passing, they will be treated like your actual parameters. Actual parameters. And whatever values at the called function you are receiving, those are your formal parameters. Formal parameters. So like this you have to remember. Calling function, inside calling function, at the place of function call you will have actual parameters. Inside function definition, inside called function, at the time of function definition you will have formal parameters. So this is how we passed the actual parameters from the function call to the function definition. We received over here, we modified and we printed. So this is all you need to know about formal parameters and actual parameters. I guess it is more than 1 hour, so I will conclude my session here itself, and in tomorrow's session we'll be focusing on interfunction communication. It is one of the important concept and it is an LAQ 7 marks question. Hopefully you will focus on this. Thank you very much, students.